On this episode of Purposely Curious, I sit down with my friends Andy, Christina, and Claudia after having some tequila shots to discuss relationships. We didn't have a formal plan set here, so this episode may not be suitable for everyone, but we definitely have a plan for the next one, with tequila shots being taken after we record and not before. So, get nice and cozy as this episode starts now. Hello everyone. Today on this episode I have a few of my friends. I have Claudia, Andy, and Christina. I'm not necessarily sure that Claudia and Christina are going to talk. These girls are the Liability Sisters. That's a nickname my ex-boyfriend gave them. Now, why did he give them that nickname?
I wonder.
They're both sisters and their last name is Lievanos, but they were always late for everything, or they would cancel on me. Like, it was just like there was constantly shit happening. They were canceling, they were late.
I have to blame the older sister.
Who is Christina Lievanos.
Christina?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes. Can you say something, Christina? Just say, hi, I'm Christina.
And I am one of the Liability Sisters.
Hi, this is Christina.
So my ex-boyfriend would see me struggle with either they're being late or they're canceling on me. So I would constantly, because we were in a very openly communicative relationship, I would vent to him. And he was like, it sounds like these sisters are liabilities.
Dang.
So whenever we would talk about Christina and Claudia, it was like, so the Liability Sisters.
Damn.
And now that ship has sailed. He's an ex.
The double C's.
Are we
Yes.
still liabilities? That's all I want to know.
These bitches are still liabilities.
I feel like I've improved. I've done much better.
Have you?
I would
Yes.
doubt so.
I think especially in the last 10 months of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot's been going on in the last 10
Yeah.
months.
So I feel like I'm more reliable.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I'm still late, but I'm more reliable.
Yes. So.
Late doesn't mean that I don't care.
And we have Andy. Hey, Andy.
Hello.
Hello.
Greetings. Buenos dias. Buenas
Buenos
noches.
dias.
Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos. What does that mean in Spanish?
Welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So today I thought we would talk about relationships and why do women and men do or think certain ways. But to kind of like set off the episode, we decided to go have drinks beforehand. So we may have had a few tequila shots, mezcal drinks, and some people might be drinking White Claws right now.
Maybe.
Maybe. I'm having coffee.
I can neither confirm nor deny that statement. But there is a difference between mezcales and tequilas.
Yes. And can you share that with us?
I thought you learned that.
I did, but maybe our listeners don't know the difference. Just like I didn't know a difference earlier.
Different agaves, different plants. Blue would be your tequilas, and all the other, the misfits, would be technically the mezcales. But people prefer what they prefer. I'm a tequila guy, but I can't really discriminate. I love everything.
So when you're talking about mezcal and tequila and agave is the plant,
Correct.
and tequila and mezcal come from agave?
Different type of agave plants. So the blue would be your tequila, and then the rest, different genres, so to speak, would be your mezcals. Yeah.
Well, so
Bum, bum, bum.
Andy, are you single or taken?
Taken.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that relationship. Not the relationship, but what made you feel like you wanted to be taken?
Kind of just happened, so to speak. Finding someone that understands you, and just vibe with. We can elaborate on that, but it's all the sub categories of love or relationships, affection, and yeah, just all the goodness in between.
Yeah. Yeah. So now here we are for adults who have been through shit, who have dated, had bad relationships, good relationships. You have come across as someone who is a guy who's really open as to why do men do what they do. Yes?
Yes.
Whether it's from personal experience or whether it is because you know friends that are just asses or you understand why certain men do what they do.
I like to be very upfront, and I've been through a lot and made plenty of mistakes. There's no going back from it, and if I don't learn from them, then I'm nothing. So just kind of learn to embrace the hoe or embrace the sensitive side of things as well. So
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So a lot of times now with the viral culture, right? Women are trying to dissect and understand men, right?
okay.
So to you, what is exclusive? If you tell a woman you want to be exclusive, what the fuck do you mean?
I'm gonna hit that pussy and only that. 100%.
Okay. So, but does that mean your boyfriend and girlfriend?
Not necessarily.
Okay. And so explain that to the women who want to understand when a guy says, let's be exclusive, what the hell does that mean?
I mean, that's an invitation to just be like, hey, I'm gonna do what I want with you and only you and unleash the beast, or just, make love, whatever you call it. But that doesn't technically make it like, hey, you're my woman or my man. Unless the term comes out boyfriend, girlfriend, and then so on and so forth. People can have their say and opinions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, you're my girlfriend. It just means you're my person for that segment of time.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm getting at is what will it take for you to be like, okay, this is a girlfriend material?
Truth. It boils down to respect. I respect you. I want to be with you. I appreciate you. And I want you as mine.
Okay. So now you've told a girl that you want her to be the girlfriend, right?
Okay.
How long does that take you to get to that?
It's different for everyone.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Explain.
I can have someone in a week. I can have someone in 2 weeks. I can have someone in 6 months. It all depends on what has happened, PTSD, stuff like that. It's different for everyone. So I can't say on my behalf. I mean, I love quick. I can say I love you, right? But that don't mean shit after a month or two because of some instance, right? Like, boils down to I respect you. You can treat someone, you could buy them this, that, all that, but you treat them like shit. Don't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
It boils down to languages, love, respect, all that stuff. So I know there's subcategories and languages and things like that you can kind of deep dive in. But yeah.
So when you say PTSD, what PTSD could you be referring to as far as yourself?
Oh man, no matter what you do, it's never right. Shit, I'm trying to get laid, and I gotta lay the rose petals, flowers, horse carriage, and shit, and you gotta make it work in between time. Nothing could never be good enough. Cooking, cleaning, you name it. I mean,
so that's your PTSD.
I mean, yeah.
You never felt good enough.
100%.
The women in your life never made you feel good enough, and you felt like you had to shoot through hoops.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So your PTSD, based on your experiences, is that women have unrealistic expectations. based on the women you dated.
That is fair due to circumstances. I'm a father. I love my children. What came first? The chicken, the egg? Who started the argument pending the situation? But my focus may have been something else. But ultimately, I never felt respected. There was always something that it would boil down to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you may have girlfriends or friends who reach out to you for advice because you're such a down-to-earth guy, right? Is that what I hear?
Such a gentleman.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, such a gentleman. So, for example, homegirls come to you and they want advice because they don't understand why their man or the guy they like is doing certain things. You're very upfront in discussing why men do what they do.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because you once were an asshole. Self-proclaimed.
I was an asshole. I was a slut. I was a hoe. I was all of the above. You know, I won't deny who I was or anything of that nature. But, yeah, men do what we do for certain reasons, and it's a fucking game.
Yeah.
Same as women, though. I can turn it back on you.
Women are not different.
Correct.
And I'll stand by that.
Correct.
No, so you have a friend who comes to you and says, you know what? My guy is an asshole. He's telling me A, B, C, D, E. And you're openly willing to describe at least why you think they are doing that. So, I'm going to throw you a scenario. Yes?
Yes.
This is a woman who started dating a guy, and the guy and her hit it off for 6 months, and then motherfucker disappears. Ghosts her, as most people say. Why would he ghost her after 6 months of being constantly consistent every day for 6 months? Why do you think he would ghost her as a man who's been a hoe himself? Self-proclaimed hoe.
I mean, straight up, dude. Is she putting out? Is she not?
Let's just assume she is.
What else is there? Is it just for the sex? Is it just for the affection, right? Mm-hmm. Is it they buy them shit? I mean, it boils down to what is important to that person.
Right.
You know, it's tough to say, but you know, do you set boundaries? Do you communicate? Do you fuck? Do you talk? Do you go out? Mm-hmm. Is it public? Mm-hmm. Is it hidden? Mm-hmm. I mean,
these are questions that we as women should ask ourselves as we're dating someone. Is that what you're referring to?
I think it's important, whether it's women stating the obvious, what you want, what you don't want, men that are man enough to say, I want this, I want that. You know, it comes to a mutual agreement, because ultimately we are of age. We have to come up with a decision. Mm-hmm. So it really depends on a lot of things. You can't just say that, oh, all right, I want this, but never say anything.
Yeah. So now you have a girlfriend who you're fucking close with. You guys are best friends. And she's telling you, I've been talking to this guy for 6 months. We're hooking up. We're having a great time. We have a connection. But I don't know if we're serious. What will you, as her friend, ask her and be like, to see if he is serious?
Well, women 100% are way more in it to win it. You women are stronger. You women bear children. You women want a future. Men, we're a little bit more timid. It all boils down to is just like, hey, like, what are you looking for? Do you want a future? Do you not? Are you just a boy toy or not? Yeah, or nowadays a fuck boy. That's what it all boils down to. You know, do you want something serious? Do you not? Like, and to be honest, it all boils down to respect. You can speak your 5 languages of love, which I think we should touch base on, but it's more towards I respect this person enough to give her what she wants or be completely open with that person.
Yeah. So as a guy, so now I know you're this is not based on your relationship status right now, but as a single guy, let's just say you were single. You're hooking up with this girl who you're attracted to. You're having a good time. You're having good conversations. When do you know as a man that this is a girl you want to be seen in public, that you want to be moving forward? I guess that's my question. And we want all complete honesty here. Because women want to know. What does it take?
We do.
What the fuck does it take? Bullshit aside, what the fuck does it take?
Bullshit aside?
Bullshit aside.
Take
That's
care of
why
yourself.
you're here.
Take care of yourself. I fell in love with this particular person for a particular reason, and I would expect it to continue. Like, it's self-identifying, independent, carrying through life like it ain't no thing. I fell in love with you for a particular reason.
No, he's not talking about me.
Hell
Mary
no.
Escobar.
No, but the point is, it's like, hey, I fell in love with this person for a particular reason, and I would expect it to carry on. Like, once you lose your sense of independence, what? Like, I fell in love with you for fucking handling your business, working out, taking care of yourself, paying your bills. That's me. I like a strong woman, right? So, like, the truth is, it's like, don't lose yourself in the mix.
Get it.
You get focused on that significant other, that shit gets lost.
Yeah. Codependency.
Correct. Don't get me wrong. You could be codependent to a certain extent, but, like, damn, you're going to wait for me to eat? Like, fuck, eat. I'll be at dinner. You're waiting for me at lunch. Eat your lunch. I'll see you at dinner time. Yeah. But that boils down to communication.
Right.
Yeah. It's, for me, it's more handling business, taking care of yourself. And then I'll see you when I see you, if it's that type of relationship. But the goal is to grow as an individual, to grow as a whole. And why not be a power couple?
So you have a daughter.
I do.
And how old is she?
Well, she would kill me right now, but it's 5 1/4.
So what advice would you give your daughter as a newly young woman who's venturing out, meeting these boys?
I mean,
that's a good one, I think.
It's 100% a good one. I'd tell her to, I guess, trust her gut. Through the years, every year, up to this point, I've told her things. And it's important for me to be honest with her. I guess due to the relationship I've had with, her mother since I'm separate, And where I'm at now and all the mistakes I've had is being honest with her and telling her what's out there. And she will learn as she grows, but knowing that there's one man, myself, stability, and hopefully she learns through my experiences or mother's experiences. But to be completely honest with what's out there.
Yeah. So your daughter comes to you, or Christina or me come to you, and we're like, we met this guy, things were going great, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't seem very interested after 3 weeks. But he'll text me here and there. But I'm not sure about him. What's going on with him?
Drop it.
Because?
It's not worth it. Put in the work that will be put out. And if it's not, just put work in yourself. Nothing's more important. Nothing's more self-satisfactive, so to speak, right? Like, take care of yourself. I do. You should. No matter the person, individual. You don't want to be codependent, quote unquote, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to be independent. And if you grow as a couple, then great. Don't lose yourself in the mix.
Yeah. I get it. Christina?
I feel like it's difficult to pinpoint, but it's definitely hard to say that you can't become codependent in a person when they become your partner and you get used to them and they play this role in your life.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Andy's point of view because, you learn as you go, and sometimes you get into these relationships and it takes that learning point to make a change and take a step back and learn how to understand yourself as an individual and make the changes that you need to make to be a better person and to be a better partner. And sometimes you walk into these things not really knowing different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And codependency is normal, whether we like to accept it or not. I think when you're in a long-term relationship with someone, Andy, don't make that face, Andy. When you're in a long-term relationship with someone, you become codependent whether you like it or not, in the sense that, he's nodding his head.
It goes unrecognized. So we got to be able to self-identify certain things that come on.
I agree.
I mean, I'm guilty of it, and I'm guilty of being a fucking dick. Power trips, this, that, like, it's fucking, like, it's normal, right? But self-worth is huge. Even as a dude, doesn't mean that, like, women are the ones solely abused. I mean, shit, like, I've been.
You've been abused?
Yeah, I've been abused. I've been fucking hurt.
By a woman?
Yeah, 100%. Like, you don't think it took me minutes and hours and months, years to feel my self-worth? We all have a history. We all have opinions. We all have certain things that we've dealt with through life. And, women aren't the only ones that are abused.
I'm glad you're bringing that point, because I feel like sometimes, or maybe my agenda was, I want to understand why dudes do what they do, right? So I'm not thinking of it as, if I'm completely honest, right? I'm not thinking of it as, you're being abused. It's almost like, why do women feel like shit when men do this, men do that? But you're bringing another aspect of, sometimes men feel abused.
sometimes we're not good enough. No matter what we do, relationship wise, or if you have a family, shit hurts. Things that never good enough, or it's just the back and forth, and things of that nature. But ultimately, it's respecting one another to grow, to learn. It's a tough situation. Like, what came first, chicken or the egg? Did the man start the problem? Did the woman start the problem? To be completely honest, I could throw it back on women and say, like, why do you do what you do?
So
why do you say?
You got two women right here.
Yeah,
I got answers.
Ask us right now. You're a fucking dude. Ask us. So in this podcast, I wanted to ask men your male perspective. Fuck it. Ask us. Why do we do what we do? And we'll answer you.
Like, y'all think that you can act however you act, right? Like, you get mad, you get all prissy in regards to certain situations, but then the next day you act like it's fine. And
give us an example, Andy, because you're saying what you're saying based on your own experiences. Mm-hmm. So me and Christina need some context for us to be able to tell you why we think we may react that way, or why maybe the person you're imagining or thinking of when you mention that is reacting that way, and we may not agree with the way the person you're thinking of is acting the way they are. Let's be honest.
You can buy me anything you want. Okay. Right? Like, oh, I bought him concert tickets. I bought him traveling tickets. But if this dude just didn't act right, or treated him like shit, like materialistic items didn't matter, but words hurt. You have to boil it down to what is important to this individual. Like, to me, I don't care if you buy me things. Mm-hmm. I don't really care if you take me somewhere. Mm-hmm. But if you say things that hurt, words, because of a certain moment, and act like nothing's wrong the next day due to the fact that you said things that are hurtful to this individual, like, you think it's okay and carry on. For some people, words hurt. For some people, actions. For some people, you don't buy them things. It all boils down to, like, what is important for this individual. Like, do you love materialistic items? Do you love affection? Do you love words of affirmation? It all boils down to language.
Love language. Yeah.
The person that you're with may love to buy you shit, but it doesn't matter to you.
So, are you talking from personal experience?
Correct.
Listen. So the person you were with liked to buy you stuff, but you didn't feel complete.
And you...
in that relationship.
Yeah. You want to communicate.
What were you lacking?
I was lacking communication. Mm-hmm. And I was lacking affection. Mm-hmm. I mean, for someone else, it may be different. For you, what are your languages?
I like affection, and I like giving.
Christina?
I don't know. I don't think I've really put a lot of thought into it, but I do like giving and sharing. Yeah.
Do you know what the languages of love are?
Not necessarily. No. No.
So words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think that you're amazing. I appreciate what you do. You're amazing. Thank you. I love you. That's huge, right?
Yeah, it is.
Acts of service. Doing things for others. Buying things, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this person needs, or wants a purse, a soap, or, a loofah, whatever. You getting that person something means something.
Yeah.
Receiving gifts. I want some shoes. Right? That's huge, right? Like, oh, I like my kicks if you're a fucking sneakerhead. Quality time.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like that one-on-one, right?
Right.
And physical touch.
Yeah.
What's important to you?
Yeah.
Definitely quality time.
But
quality time.
through these, right? Like when you think about it, I'll tell you the one that's not really on there.
What's that?
Respect. Respect is huge. I can love someone unconditionally, right? Like certain, so to speak. But I mean, I respect them like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father of 2, right? Like I love my kids, and I respect the mother of my children. But I may not necessarily respect her, so to speak, due to the history as a partner.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll never talk down as a mother of my kids and always say, listen to your mother. I agree. Co-parenting. One's not on there. That's important. And it all boils down to respect.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, just people don't want to see certain things. And, what comes first, chicken or the egg, when it comes to certain arguments, letting shit go, that's not really important, but people get really adamant about certain things.
Right. Right. So what is your love language?
Personally, right?
Personally, yeah. What is your love language, Andy? I just said I'm affectionate. I want to be
physical touch.
Physical touch is
Physical
my
touch
thing.
is huge for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like that intimacy. I like the love. I like that when you're alone and no one's there, doing things that people don't know about, like hitting that extra barrier. Like that shit is sexy. Personally, like I like doing things that no one would think that I would do, and I just get out there and get it
with that person.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking huge. Words of affirmation too, telling me like, hey man, I fucking love you, I appreciate you. That is big. Those are my top 2.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, the gifts and like that's all second or third, fourth, and fifth. But yeah, physical touch and words of affirmation are huge for me.
Those are my both language of love. I like physical touch and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, speaking for myself, like for me to feel I guess comfortable enough to let someone in, when I let them in, those are the 2 things they get out of me, is words of affirmation and physical touch. Yeah. But it's so rare for me to get there. And that's why I appreciate it. And I actually know that those are my love languages, because it's such a rare thing for me. So I don't know how it is for you guys, but I definitely know with certainty that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So now let me ask you this. You are in a relationship, or it's kind of toxic, right? We've all had different levels of toxicity in our relationships at some point, right? My first boyfriend, him and I were young, didn't know how to handle our love, so we would talk shit to each other. I think all the adults at the time thought it wasn't gonna last, but in the moment we thought we were it, right? So what do you have to say for men and women who are still in their 30s and 40s and still living that toxic relationship cycle?
Find your self-worth.
Find your self-worth.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, for me, the goal would be to find myself and happiness within. And I have children, so I want them to see me happy. I don't want them to see me suffer and to see certain things. And they're smarter than what they look, right? So you hit a certain age and you're like, dude, I'm not fucking happy. Like, you're 30, 40, and you're like, dude, I like fucking grapefruits and chilling, right? I want to find that person that has that grapefruit fucking cutter that is down to have that shit every morning and move on, like, with the day. Like, they have their routine. It's unfortunately, like, we're stuck in a point of life, just experience. I grew up in a very traditional family, right? Like, my dad came from Mexico and, you know, met my mother who was from here, yet very beautiful woman, but she was a certain way and my dad was a certain way. And you grow up learning that, oh, it should be this way. You just break the cycle, like, depending on the circumstances.
Right.
I just think that you should find self-worth and happiness and be independent in between. You don't have to just think that a man, you know, speaking on your guys' point of view, that they're supposed to support you and take care of you and certain things of that nature. I think that it's very sexy that a woman is independent, strong-minded, sexy, confident, is gonna ride your dick spelling her fucking name on that shit.
That's what Megan Thee Stallion said we're supposed to do.
Yeah, dude.
Is that not realistic?
Hey, Mary, I want you to write me an MARY on that shit, right? Right? Christina's a little long. Just write me Tina. But that's the point.
I mean, Christina, if yours is longer than Mary.
Yeah, you're gonna make me.
And to have a middle name.
Pew pew pew.
He would definitely finish with you and not with me.
I'd be like, oh shit, CR.
CH. There's a CH.
Oh shit! I was already done. I was done at the C. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
But yeah, don't be afraid to just break off and be yourself. Like, if you're not happy, you're gonna go. Well, like, what's the purpose of life? Really, I'm asking you, what is the purpose of life?
That we're each individually happy with whatever makes us happy.
Okay.
Because your happiness might be your children, right? Me, who has never had children, just like you have a son. I've never had children. So my happiness is what is concurrent right now, right? Which is, I don't have kids, but I like traveling. I like this. I like that, right? So whatever makes us as individuals happy.
The purpose of life is living.
Being happy.
Correct. If you're not happy, what the fuck are you doing? You're miserable. What the fuck are you doing? We're life's victim. What kind of victim we gonna be? We gonna be their bitch? Or we gonna make something out of it? That's your choice.
Yeah.
You think I was given a choice? I have history. what are you going to do? You going to make something out of nothing? Or are you going to wallow in your self-pity?
Yeah.
Just depends.
On what our goals are. Christina?
He is right. Yes. But
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we all go through phases and handle things differently, but he is right. And I think once some of us have to go through the self-pity to get to a certain point, and some of us take longer than others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or some of us take less than others.
We all grieve at different levels.
Yes, definitely.
But it comes down to when we're done
Yes.
grieving.
Yeah.
Or done
And
suffering.
sometimes even though we say we understand it and we see it, it still takes a lot of realization to get to that point where you're ready to take the next step to move your life forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've all been through those.
And we are all beautiful.
Amen.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
It's important that we move forward no matter the circumstance. And I think that we all deserve happiness. We all may wallow in our self-pity or what comes, but moving forward, it's harder for some, but it's important that we know that that's just a moment in time. And women, men, it's important to just cherish the moments and communicate.
And definitely feel your feelings. And
Yes.
some of us are slower than others.
Yes. And I agree with her because sometimes people grieve differently by suppressing their feelings.
Or using Band-Aids, using alternative situations to avoid feeling the feelings, whether it be substance abuse, whether it be other people, anything to avoid feeling those feelings, because sometimes they're too much to deal with, and I guess at the point that I'm at in my life, I understand what it means to just feel it and write it out and try to understand what the point of those feelings is, so it could bring up things that may be deeper than just that particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings that trigger other feelings and trickle down to things that may come from your deeper past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
We all grieve differently. I agree with what you were saying. Some of us take longer. I can talk about my last breakup. It took me... So I'm the type of person, and my cousin Nessie has kind of mentioned this. Well, this is years ago, but she's married or whatever. But she always said she thought it was interesting that between my breakups, I took years of not celibacy, just like being single in between. And so she kind of felt like she wished she could do the things she wished I could. What she told me years ago, she wished she had those gaps in between her relationships where she was single, alone, and rediscovering herself. But it didn't work out that way for her. Not that necessarily is a bad thing, right? She just went from one relationship to the next. And I took breaks in between my relationships because that was just my way of healing, if that makes sense. So maybe I didn't take the traditional route, but in between the relationships, I just try to figure my shit out again, try to rediscover myself, because we change with every relationship, whether we like it or not, right? There is codependency that just happens naturally. I understand what you were saying earlier, but you end up building this relationship with someone, so you end up spending a lot of time with this person, right? So how is it that you're not codependent, and now years later you're having to rebuild yourself without this person who you did A, B, C, D, and E. Basic
potentially
shit.
throw yourself married to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Andy?
Yes.
Yeah, because you're looking at us like this bitch is.
Question mark.
I think, you know,
We're not saying codependency is a thing.
no.
But we're just saying that when you're with someone for a really long time, so for many years, you guys were ride or die, right?
Women and men are different.
So explain it to us.
Christina, I'm sorry, but men, no.
Well, why me though?
No, just because it's the truth. I mean now more so, I took some time to be separate. I took some time to be alone. I took some time to self-identify certain things that I like, that I dislike. Certain things that I've acknowledged from the last relationship where I was like, nah, dude, fuck that. I don't want that anymore. I do not appreciate that anymore. I don't care if you buy me shit. That don't mean that it's gonna put a band-aid on the issues that we have, where it's like, you never listen to me. I think that my history is different, and I've run through women a certain way due to the life events that have occurred, and I never knew anything till trial and error. But yes, I agree with you, Mary, in regards to taking time for yourself, figuring yourself out, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like. But that opens the doors to setting boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries.
That's huge. You don't set boundaries, you're going to be fucking run over like a fucking doormat. Man or woman, doesn't matter. But healthy boundaries are huge when you self-identify shit that you do not like, or shit you like. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah, and as a relationship grows, doesn't mean you get lost in the sauce. Doesn't mean that, oh, I'm with you, I'm gonna wait for you to always do things. No, fuck that. Setting those boundaries, I'm doing things for myself, you're doing things for yourself, you're gonna grow, I'm gonna grow, we're gonna grow together.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. And that's what I've learned. And if you don't voice your concerns, at the same time, you don't bicker over stupid shit. It's things that are important, things that you confirm that I do not like this stuff, but doesn't mean that you're going to jump through hoops.
Right.
Like, I get pussy's power, but you buy me shit just because you give me that don't mean that you run me. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about people are voicing their concerns. So if you don't change, does that mean you not care about the other person?
You're only going to change if you want. And if it cares. And if you matter.
Or
you're just fucking around. If you voice your concerns and someone listens to you and you're worth the situation, then, you know,
then the person's going to change.
And then it'll grow. But if you're not ready for that, you'll know. You know, just don't be naive. Don't be blind to it. Like, take the red flags and move on. Cut it. It's hard because you're codependent. It's hard because you like, oh, I think they can. But 6 months, a year, 2 years,
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's it goes on. Knowing your self-worth and moving forward after X amount of time that you give yourself. Because ultimately, women, you have You have a time frame. Men don't.
Mm-hmm.
Women are precious. Women are special. You're important. You do a lot more than men do. And I acknowledge that. That's huge. If you don't talk about these things, it ain't gonna matter. Communication. That's huge. So, that's important. And that's all it really is. Communication, respect, and knowing the time frames.
Yeah.
Guys are dumb to certain things. But we play dumb. You guys are a ticking clock. And we should not toy with those things, even though that I may be a culprit,
Mm-hmm.
I've done it in the past, and I've learned to respect women over time and appreciate that. And if you don't set those healthy boundaries, if you don't talk about certain things, women are ready before men are. Women are smarter than men are. But it takes two to tango.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to close off, based on, we didn't really have necessarily like a thing to talk about or like a specific, I guess, thing to talk about, but we've had a good conversation tonight. What advice would you give your daughter right now, based on your ways, your mistakes, or based on shit you see with your friends? What advice would you give your young, beautiful daughter on dating?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, but you know what? I expect you to answer it. As best as you can, of course. As best as you can.
I think that it would be, no matter the decisions that you make, I promise to be there and help you through life. I can't answer that. I think that she's gonna make mistakes,
As we all do.
and I will be there and teach you things and hope that she listens. And if she doesn't, I'll
Still love her.
I'll be right there.
To support her.
That's all I can do.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. I'm open. I don't care. I'm open. You talk to me about whatever it is that you want. Guys, girls, whatever field you play on. And we will not go to bed until we figure it out. And if we don't, we will fucking sleep together and talk about it in the morning after with some rice cakes and pancakes and coffee.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with coffee.
No, 100%. So I will be right there, and if I don't know, we will figure it out together.
Yeah.
I support her. I love her.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Andy, for joining us. And I hope that people who heard our conversation, although we were all over the place, took something from it. I do hope to have you back, maybe with concrete questions.
Yes.
But definitely, I thought, you're a dad to a young woman who will be young woman. She's what, 5?
And a quarter.
One day she will be a young woman who will have to deal with dating tribulations that we all go through.
I do not want that.
I know you do not want to, but that's a reality. And so maybe this recording or the next one will help you try to see how you as a father, based on your life experiences, can maybe help your daughter navigate these uncharted waters that we all kind of go through. And you as men go through as well, because women are not saints. Do you know what I mean?
Now your women are crazy.
Some women are. I'm not.
Christina. Mary.
Christina and Mary are not.
We're all saints.
I can tell you from my personal experience, based on my personal relationships that I've had, is that I want to be as supportive as I can as a woman to the man that I'm dating. So we're not all crazy is what I'm saying. I'm shooting you down. You know what I mean? But what I'm getting at is that, yes, I, as a woman, understand that 50% of the problem is women. And I get it.
50-50.
I feel like sometimes society makes it to where men are the problem. Men are the one ghosting. Men are the one this. Men are the one that. But sometimes we as women need to understand that we are crazy as well. And sometimes we are the problem.
Well, that's the question of equality, equity.
Yeah. There's a lot of learning we have to do. And again, your daughter's 5.5 or 5 3/4.
A quarter.
So there's a lot that can happen between her age now at 5 to when she actually starts dating. He said, "No."
15 years, Andy.
He's
15
like,
years.
"Not my daughter. My daughter's not going to date
She's
anyone."
never gonna date.
But
I was giving her at least till 20.
But I guess what I'm saying is, we men and women, men and men, women and women, whoever you're into loving and dating, we're always trying to figure out each other out, right? And so I think it comes down to figuring ourselves out.
Definitely.
And once we figure ourselves out, maybe things will roll into place.
Yes.
I mean, we're still trying to sort that out, right? As a race.
I think it's important knowing what you love,
Mm-hmm.
what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Same, Christina, goes with what we want, what we enjoy, things that we look forward to in a day. And it sometimes it's the simple things. And knowing that, self-identifying shit that we love, that we enjoy, and shit that we're not going to put up with, and setting up those boundaries is huge. Men, women, it's healthy.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to have that conversation. That's what's important.
Yeah. Speaking our minds. So
Correct.
when we're on our deathbed, we don't have any regrets because we spoke our mind.
I have no regrets.
Will you join us again if I have set questions from our listeners?
I would love set questions.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Christina?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Purposely Curious, where we just kind of talk about relationships, men, women, ideals. Pew, pew, pew. But I definitely do appreciate your honesty, Andy.
Women are trip. Women are a trip. So are men.
Men are...
But we're also precious, as you said.
Yeah.
100% common ground.
Yes.
Build a foundation.
And so are men. They are also precious.
Yes. I guess both sexes are precious, or whoever we
Yes. We just
wanna
all have
love.
our flaws.
Yes. We just have to accept that sometimes we are the problem.
I mean, on that note, like, I want to be cuddled when I'm sick. I want to treat me like a baby.
Yeah? You want to be treated like a baby?
Hell yeah.
Really, Andy?
You know? Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, rub my back.
This is
Shit.
how you want to end the episode?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Men are babies. 100%. But women
I couldn't
are
agree with
beautiful.
you
Like,
more.
dude, it's the simple shit. But if I'm going to end this episode, I'm like, it's common ground. Identifying things that you love, things that they love, and working out the issues. And if you can't, like, it's not worth it. It shouldn't be hard. Do things because you want to, not because it's a fucking ultimatum. Ultimately.
Yeah.
That's
Do
it.
things because you want to
100%.
for the other person.
100%. Shouldn't be a fucking chore. I love you, Mary. I'm going to make you this. I'm going to do this for you. Christina, you're beautiful. Let me buy you this. Let me do this for you. Just because I want to.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a fucking chore.
Yeah. And Andy did this for me. I'm going to do this for him. Christina did this for me. I'm going to do this for her. I get it.
But that's all great until the person starts complaining about it.
Yeah. Then there's underlying issues there.
Yes. Which just makes it complicated.
It does.
Because then you think things are going normal and they're not.
Cut the limb to save the fucking body. Yeah.
Oh,
She
what?
said what?
It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it.
Anyways, I'm sure that's not the way the episode was supposed to end, but
What? You know what? But you bring up a good point. So maybe we'll touch on that next time.
yeah.
Resentment.
Resentment.
Yeah.
We'll do an episode on resentment. We all have resentment, whether we've moved on, we have different relationships. We can look back at our past relationships and actually talk about the reasons why they didn't work out, what those resentment issues were. So maybe that should be our next episode.
There you go.
Maybe we should have a set questions when it comes to resentment.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a lot of those.
Let's do it.
Oh, tell me one right now before we close. Let's go.
Well, it's not more of a question, more of a statement. But honestly, it's just like, somebody doing things genuinely from the bottom of their heart, and then the relationship has a fallout, and all of a sudden it's things that they did because they felt like it was something to prove for that moment, for that moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it wasn't just something that was coming solely from that person wanting to do it genuinely, but more it was them feeling the need to do it out of a chore, which makes it confusing because you think you acknowledge those things in the relationship as in that moment as that person is really doing it from the heart and being genuine. And then next thing you know, years down the line, things fall out, and that's actually a complaint. It's an issue. It's something to almost make you feel like it was a chore for them. It makes it complicated because it's almost like, well, now what's going to happen? So this didn't work out. This was what happened with this person. It's like, how do you know how to read that the next person or whatever happens next?
Yeah.
You don't read minds.
You don't.
Communication. So.
But even in that moment, it may have been clear communication that you felt that. And then years down the line, all of a sudden, it's not clear communication anymore. It was them feeling like they were doing it out of, who knows what, but it's an issue.
Mary.
I think I understand what she's saying. And I do think that this would be a whole new episode on resentment. No. I'm just saying. I feel like...
No, I agree.
I feel like resentment should be a whole episode. Why we feel the way we do. Mm-hmm. Why you, me, and her have acted the certain way with certain relationships, right? Yeah. The three of us have had regrets, I'm sure.
Oh, I sure do.
Regrets of why we did what we did in past relationships, even though we've moved on. We no longer, feel this, like, you get what I'm saying. We've all done mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We've all been the asshole. Mm-hmm. We've all been the bitch, right? And we all have regrets. And then it comes down to the resentment of why relationships didn't work out, whether it was because the other person was at fault. So I understand and acknowledge what you're saying, Christina, and I do believe we can get a whole nother episode just on resentment in relationships and how we can use these resentments, right, and mistakes that either we have made or the other person has made, and how can we move forward and be a better lover and partner for our future relationships.
Okay.
Andy.
Okay.
You got another day for us to hang out and talk about it?
Yeah, because I thought about that while you were saying all that.
Yeah.
And it's a completely other topic. Mm-hmm. But it's self-identifying. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, it comes to self-identifying, but it also comes down to crutches and or always coming up with an excuse.
Okay.
So that's another
Another
topic.
episode.
But fuck yeah. Like, it wasn't worth it. Bottom line. Due to whatever has happened, wasn't worth it. And the only reason it did not happen was because you didn't talk about it in the moment. That's it. If you don't talk about it, not necessarily in the moment when it happened to fucking cause a scene, but to talk about it when it occurred at a later time, to just be able to be on common ground. And that's why things turn to shit. And if you're not able to talk about it, you ain't able to be about it, to live and to grow. And unfortunately, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you for joining us, Andy and Christina. Claudia started the episode strong, but she is passed out.
She is out.
No
She's
matter the
done.
coffee.
And I made her coffee. And she looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Sleeping. She does.
She doesn't even snore.
Like a fucking angel.
I know. What a bitch. This bitch doesn't even
Shit.
snore.
This is me.
She
And
has,
she's wearing her glasses too.
and she hasn't farted either.
I know.
Wait, I thought I heard one.
Or burp.
It went.
Aw.
She
And
fucking made an E sound.
And it was probably cute too.
Oh my god. There was glitter after that.
So if I want you guys to take anything from this episode, I know we were all over the place,
Yes.
is
Sure
figure
were.
out your love languages, right? We all
Definitely.
love differently. Some people love affection. Some people don't. Figure out your love language. And then for the next episode, we're going to talk about resentment. Resentment can come from an array of things.
Mm-hmm.
I date certain people based on my father. So I hold resentment towards my father and my mother. When I say my mother, is just the way she went about things. So I refuse to do shit her way.
And I stayed in my past relationship due to what I was used to.
Yeah. So you
and
stayed.
What I saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure Christina has her own issues as far as what we're dealing with. So I definitely.
As she laughs.
So we're,
Many issues.
So I think the three of us are going to get together again to talk about resentment in relationships and how can we deal with resentment. We may not know it ourselves yet, the answer, right? But at least we can talk about it openly to see what it is that we can better ourselves with. So thank you, Andy, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And Christina.
Too many drinks, but yes.
We did have a lot of tequila shots.
And thank you for having me. I said more than just yes this
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Christina was on an episode a long time ago and she just said yes.
Yes, in a very deep voice.
Yeah. So
Oh, look who's awake now.
oh, she
Good
woke
morning.
up. Yes. Thanks everyone, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you guys next time. Bye. That was episode 86 of the Purposely Curious podcast. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on most podcast platforms, and follow us on social media at Purposely Curious on Instagram and at Purposely C Pod on Twitter. That's Purposely, the letter C, Pod. Until next time, you know what to do. Bye.